Hi witches! So today we are going to talk about the moon. Many witches base their spellcraft around the phases of the moon and the different energy that each phase kind of brings into the world and your magical workings. So certain times of the month can potentially boost the efficacy of your spells, right? As always, not all witches stick to this. You are always welcome to do a magical practice no matter what phase the moon is in. Personally, though, for me, following the moon phases is a really good way for me to like kind of check in and like continuously practice my craft. So it keeps me on track. It just kind of reminds me like, oh yeah, today is the full moon, so I am going to unplug and take some time to meditate and really just talk to my deities and just like work, right? So the moon, the lunar cycle, I'm pretty sure we all learned about this in school, but it starts with the new moon. It's the beginning of the cycle, so it's really good to focus on magic that works with new beginnings, new opportunities, and really setting your intention. You can also wipe the slate clean and just kind of start over and start new habits. Like if you're trying to start a new practice, definitely recommend doing something, doing that and setting your intention during the new moon. The waxing crescent focuses on magic that works with like creativity and action, so it's a good time to start those like baby steps towards whatever your goal that you set during the new moon was, and it's just start taking action to create your reality. The first quarter moon, really focus on magic that gives you like a boost, right? So anything that has to do with determination, energy, like I do a lot of like fire-based magic around the first quarter. It's all about strengthening that commitment to your goal, right? So it's a good time to kind of like check in, like make a mental note of like, hey, how am I doing with like this goal? Like how, and this doesn't even have to be like a magical thing. If you're just like, hey, I want to eat more vegetables, you can kind of like take a look back and be like, all right, so like, did I eat vegetables at all in the last 2 weeks? No? Okay, I better get back on track, or I need to do something to, make it more whatever. Like that's just kind of an example, right? So with the waxing gibbous, which means like the moon is getting bigger, it's getting fuller, it's almost full, you really should focus on like readying yourself to like receive the gifts of the universe, or like really start to reap the benefit of your labor, right? So it's really good to like manifest strength and action. I don't really do like the crescent and the gibbous are kind of hard for me. Like I generally work with like new moon, first quarter, full moon, third quarter, new moon, and so on and so forth. So these are kind of like those in between steps that some witches really love to use, but I don't really follow that as seriously, right? So after the waxing gibbous, as the moon is just continues to get bigger and bigger, it eventually hits the full moon. So this is like kind of like the height of lunar energy in the lunar cycle, right? A lot of people, including myself, get very emotional, like me, like full tilt, crying, like hyperventilating, anxiety queen. Like I get this way and I'm like, well, what is this? And I look outside and the moon is full and I'm like, god damn, like so it's definitely, it affects me a lot personally, but the full moon is really like the best time for you to like harvest like the fruits of your labors. You're like, hey, like I set out to do this thing, I've put these steps like forward in the last week to like, or what, 2 weeks or however long it is, to really like set my intention, and I worked really hard, and it is now a time for me to like celebrate doing that. And really, if you are doing any magical working, it is really, really good to do that on the full moon. A lot of people make moon water, which is where you take like a jar of water and you like charge it under the moonlight, and it catches the moonlight and it like absorbs all of that lunar energy, and it's really great for using spells later in the month. So as the moon then continues its like journey across the sky, it starts to wane. So during the waning gibbous, it's really good to kind of like continue to soak in that energy from the full moon and really use it to encourage you to keep pushing forward, but also like letting go of energy that no longer serves you. So if you like in your journey up until the full moon were getting like really hung up on something and you realized it and you're like, now's a really good time to do any magic that helps you release like negative energy, right? The third quarter moon I feel is very good for that as well. It kind of like allows you to accept what you have like let go, and like really take on the transformation that your previous like month of work has afforded you, right? And then finally the waning crescent, so when the moon is at its sliver right before the new moon, really focus on self-care and rest, right? I really like to use this time to reflect on my past work, release all and any final tension or negative energy, so that way I can start working again during the new moon. So it's cyclical, and it's a really nice kind of like monthly thing to do. I really hope that this helps you all. Like I said, there's no need to like necessarily follow this, or you know, if you only work during the new moon and the full moon, like that's totally cool. But I find that working with the lunar, ever since I started really working with the lunar energy, and like the energy cycle, it has improved my craft immensely. So, as I said, I will put like a abbreviated version of this, in the description, so that way you can add it to your book of shadows. But I really recommend going through and maybe like with the upcoming new moon, which will be in about a week, I believe, when I'm posting this, really just like writing your own feelings and perceptions, in terms of like what you feel when you practice during each of the different phases of the moon. So yeah, I really recommend doing that, but I will keep like a baseline description in the description box below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.